The Trump Department of Education yesterday, I hope you saw this, but they announced that they have launched an investigation against the California Department of Education for alleged violations of the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with that. I was not. In fact, when I heard this, I was asking myself, what is the California Family Educational Rights Privacy Act? Never heard of it. But I would imagine that the fact that the Trump administration is going after him is probably good news. So here to get into all of this is Meg Kilgannon, who's Family Research Council's Senior Fellow for Educational Studies. Meg, welcome back to Washington Watch. Great to have you on.
It's great to see you, Jody. Always.
All right, my first question. What is the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act?
Well, have you maybe heard of it referred to as FERPA? FERPA is the abbreviation, and that's a law that was passed in 1974 on my birthday, as a matter of fact. And it guarantees the rights of parents to review and perhaps correct the educational records of their children. So this is a very important act. And it is a law. It is a U.S. law in the U.S. Code. So the fact that California is on the wrong side of this law is not good for California parents, students, or, of course, the state schools in California.
Yeah, I mean, that is what this whole thing is all about. I mean, it appears that the law, and thanks, FERPA is one thing. I guess I never knew what FERPA stood for. But what California is now doing is using this as a shroud of secrecy, really, aren't they, to keep parents out of knowing what's happening to their children at school.
It is. It's being interpreted that way and used that way by school systems, and that must stop. And that's why I'm so grateful that the Office of General Counsel at the Department of Education is launching this investigation into the California school system to correct this error on their part. Because part of the process of putting children on this pipeline to gender transition, that starts with the creation of a student record at a school called a gender plan. And those are kept secret oftentimes, most of the time, from parents. And of course, any kind of record that's created at the school for your child is an educational record, and a parent has a right to see it. So this idea of a secret gender transition plan flies completely in the face of protections that are guaranteed under FERPA. So this is something that parents have been complaining about, especially parents of children whose children are caught up in this gender madness. And so there is a backlog of complaints at the department about this, and they're going to clear out that backlog of complaints. And they're going even further than that by having this investigation into California. They announced the investigation into California yesterday, and today they announced that they are also investigating in the state of Maine this problem. I think there are going to be investigations into a number of states in this regard, and it's just a tremendous effort and a very welcome one to guarantee parental rights.
You're not kidding. This is huge news. So let me put this out to you, Meg. A parent. A parent suspects or it has some sort of concern regarding their child's school, perhaps hiding some of this vital information about them. What is a parent to do?
Well, aside from just addressing the situation in your own family and taking care of your child first, right? Maybe they need to be removed from that environment. There's all kinds of resources out there for parents who are going through this in relationship to their child. But in relationship to the school, what the parent can do is, of course, address this with the school, but you can visit the website of the Department of Education. I just did this afternoon. I could tell you the address, but it'll be forgotten. If you go to the website and you put FERPA, F-E-R-P-A, in the search bar, it will take you to that page on the website that talks about this education right. And there is a big button at the top that says make a report. And you can make a report about the problem that you're having at your school. There is a limit to that the problem has to be reported within 180 days. And I know that there are times with families when you're in a child's crisis that can take sometimes years to sort out. And then there you are. Now you have the bandwidth to go back and make a complaint, and it's past the 180 days. Even if it's past the 180 days, if you know that this is happening in your school system, I still think it would be good for you to make a report, because it may be that it corroborates some other reports that are there, and that it puts the department over the top for doing an investigation. So it's great if you could make those reports. You know, the other situation besides gender identity that comes up in this case is, you know, we have a lot of violence in school these days, sadly. And schools were not telling parents if one child had made like a death threat against another child, based on the fact of the child making the death threat had a right to privacy. And so this is, of course, a terrible thing to do. Obviously, a parent needs to know about that situation. Obviously, there needs to be a conversation about that. And so it's that kind of situation that this effort on the Department of Education that they're hoping to correct. And I am so glad to see that it's happening. We're very grateful to Secretary McMahon and President Trump for doing this.
Meg Kilgannon, you're awesome. Thank you for breaking this down for us. Hope you have a great weekend.